Hello, and welcome to my video on installing Wireshark on Windows 11 and Ubuntu Desktop. This is an introductory video for those who are getting into cybersecurity or networking and are looking to start messing around and learning how to use Wireshark. So today what I'm going to be doing is I have two virtual machines set up on my desktop here. I got a Windows 11 desktop and I got a Ubuntu Linux desktop. And I'm going to be walking through how to install Wireshark on both OSs. On the Windows version, we're going to just be doing it through the web and downloading the executable, the install executable, and going through the traditional way most people would be installing it if you're on Windows. On Linux, we're going to install it through the command line, which sometimes works a bit faster than installing the Ubuntu package. Either way, I always do it through the command line if I were to download the package or doing it through the repositories. But we'll explain that as when we get there. So to start off, when you start up your Windows 11 computer and you want to install Wireshark, you're going to go to Firefox or your preferred search engine, search browser. And the website we're going to go to is wireshark.org. And when we get here, you're going to see the world's leading network packet analyzer. And I highly recommend Wireshark for those getting into just starting out, or those who are seasoned or experienced professionals. It goes a long way. It's a tool that you should always have at your disposal if you're doing anything cybersecurity, network administration, network engineering. It's used throughout the industry. So what we're going to do is we're going to download, and in my case, we're going to go with the Windows x64 installer, which for most people, this is what you're going to want to install, is the x64. That's for your standard desktop or laptop, right? So we will get the x64 here. Okay, so once Wireshark is downloaded, you're going to have a Wireshark in the version of Wireshark executable on your computer. You can either run it straight through the browser in the download list. I just moved it to the desktop so you can see the icon here. And you will run this. And we say yes, we run it as administrator, and we go through the installation setup here. We take note of the license agreement. Asks you if you want to become a certified Wireshark user or analyst. They have certification courses for that. And these are the components by default that Wireshark is going to set up. You're going to have Wireshark, which is the GUI version of the packet analyzer, which most people use. There's T-Shark, which is the text-based network protocol analyzer, which runs in the command line. This is good if you're using like servers, or you don't have a graphical interface, or maybe you're terminaling in over a text-based protocol like SSH, for example. And these are some external tools, but for now we will keep this the default. And we will create a desktop shortcut. We can keep this as it is. You can choose to have a desktop icon if you wish. We select our destination folder where we're going to install it. Now NCAP is the drivers for Wireshark. There is an additional network interface that sets up to where we can sniff the traffic on Windows, and that's what NCAP does. You will need that. Now, you can also install USB PCAP, which lets you sniff data over USB. That's, in this case, we don't need it, so we can keep that unchecked. And once you have that, it will go through its installation process. This should only take a few seconds, maybe 30 seconds or so. You will get this pop-up. It's just telling you to agree to the NCAP license agreement, and we can install some extra support here if we want to, and we can also restrict the NCAP drivers access to administrative users only, which in some cases, if you have a computer where multiple people are using it and you have administrators logging in on it, this is good practice in the enterprise. But if you're just doing this on your home computer, it's at your discretion. Other than that, we can keep that as is, and it will install the NCAP drivers. Okay, we'll finish that, and Wireshark will finish its installation process. Okay, so once that's done, it should be all set to use. And this is the icon, so we can get rid of this icon for now. And once it's set up, you open it up, and we have our capture list here, where we can see our network devices or network adapters. Now in this case, since I'm on a virtual machine, I only have one network adapter. If you're running this on a regular computer, you might have your wireless adapter you can see in here. You might have multiple Ethernet adapters, but in this case, there's only one in here. Got sniffing raw network traffic. These other ones here are loopback addresses or loopback interfaces. These are virtual network adapters. This is my actual physical one. As you can see, that actually has a IP address associated with it. And once we click on it, we can see the raw packet data here. We can see, this TCP traffic here, and we can, filter. We can see our packet layout and the raw data in the packet. So that's how you set it up on Windows. Fairly straightforward, very easy. Now on Linux, I would argue it's even simpler if you're, skilled with the command line. Even if you're not, there's only a few commands you need to know. So on your Ubuntu desktop, if you're using Ubuntu or an Ubuntu virtual machine, and you log in, you're going to go to the terminal application, which is the text-based shell for Linux. And the commands you're going to need to run is sudo apt update, and I'll break this down for you. So what apt is your package manager for most Debian, like Ubuntu and Mint, and the more common Linux distributions use apt. If you're on, say, like a different one like Fedora or CentOS, they use DNF or RPM because the packages are formatted different. But for Debian-based operating systems such as Ubuntu, you're going to be using apt. And what we do is we say sudo, which escalates the execution to super user, apt update. And what update does, updates the repository list. So when you run apt and you try to install a package, it goes out to the internet and pulls down your package, and it unpackages it and installs the application. What update does, it just ensures that you have the latest repository data or links to and versions of your application, so when you do run install, like you want to install a package, you can go out and get the latest version of your package, and it knows where to find it. And we will see that when we run this command. It will ask you for your password, put that in, and it will go out and go to the Ubuntu repositories, and ensure that we have the latest updates for the packages. And from there, we can install Wireshark. And the command is pretty much very similar, except we're using the install flag with Wireshark. So in this case, we're doing sudo, so escalate to superuser, apt install, which installs a package, Wireshark. And where Wireshark is, you can put any package in there that's in the Ubuntu repository. So you can do like, nmap, say if you want to install LibreOffice, you can do, LibreOffice there. So that third argument, or the second argument, is always the package you want to install. The first argument is the directive for apt. So we'll run that, and it's going to ask you, do you want to continue? And it just shows you the packages that are going to be installed. So these are all the packages that Wireshark needs to run properly. And we will say yes. And it will go out and install it. Very simple. So really, in this case, 2 commands. Very easy to install Wireshark on Linux. In this case, we'll do sudo Wireshark. Sudo Wireshark. And we'll put in our password. And this is, now we can see our network adapters here. This is, on Linux, you're going to have a bit more network adapters, most likely, that you're going to see in here. But the main one that you're concerned about is anything that says like etho or ETH, that means Ethernet, or EMPOS3. That is your adapter list here. And we can actually go in here and disable any additional interfaces we don't want to see. We just want to see the wired ones. And if you hover over the interfaces, you can get a little printout of what address is associated with that interface. So in this case, you can see that this one has a network IP address of 10.02.15. So that's how I know this is the Ethernet adapter, that the main one that I'm using. And right now we don't have any traffic coming through, but if we were to do a ping request or go to google.com, we'll be able to see network traffic populating in here. So here's a ping request. We can see our traffic. Or let's say if we go to google.com, you'll see that request in Wireshark. Did I close Wireshark? Nope, there it is. And we can see our TCP traffic going to Google. We should also be able to see our DNS request, which is right here. And in here we can see, we should be able to see a call to youtube.com. That's close. Where is Google? That's YouTube. Let's filter this out. DNS. Let's go right here. An A record for www.google.com, right? So we can see that, and we can also see it here. So that is how you set up Wireshark on Windows and Linux. Very straightforward, very easy. I hope this was informative, and everyone have a great day. See you soon.